Hasbro CEO confirms generative AI to play heavy role in future of Dungeons and Dragons, says technology's popularity is a clear signal that we need to be embracing it. Now that is not what happened and we all know it. People got they bought the new D&D and they're like, "Hey, this looks like AI." So they called them out on it and it's like uh I believe they at first they didn't admit it, but whatever the case may be, then they were like, "Oh, we're sorry. We will not do this in the future." And this happened a few times, and now they're coming right out going, "It's popular. We're gonna embrace it. It's all gonna be AI art," which means it's all gonna be derivative crap.
Well, I have,
Right? Let me just say, think of the artists of the past.
yeah.
Like for example, the artist that drew on the Conan covers.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of their names?
Oh, Vallejo. Um,
Valley the Ho.
I can't remember them
Oh
all.
yeah, yeah. When it comes time to say it, but anyway, there's a lot of incredibly great artists. Look up people who's done covers for Heavy Metal magazine and Conan magazine, and the people who's done the older Dungeons and Dragons box sets and book art. And now we get this
Okay.
overly blended, hipsterized crap.
Well, as an artist, I sometimes will use AI to flesh out my own work. Like if something needs moved
Well,
or whatever.
as not an artist, but an enjoyer of art, I am a bit of a purist and I believe in hand drawn paper art. Now, if you can do it on a computer and it looks good, you still do it like by, a pen and on the screen, good. But still, I'm a bit of a purist on it. And I believe a lot of D&D fans are as well because they're used to such a rich culture of art on their books and so on.
Well, for me, it's conceptualizing because what I can do on a computer is I can conceptualize a piece of art that I want to do and then get it all down how I want it to be.
So you're saying you get an idea from AI art.
Yeah. And then take that idea and make it,
As
you
long
know,
as you do it all yourself. I mean, to get an idea, yeah, I see no problem with that. Use the AI and go, "Hey, I like the way this one turned out. I'm going to make my own stylized version of it." That's all right. But when you're like, "Hey, AI, make for me a bunch of black elves and, you
yeah,
know,
that's
men with no testosterone who've
that
been neutered.
that's putting artists out of a job basically.
I want my wizard to be in a wheelchair. He can resurrect the dead, but he cannot walk."
Who ever heard of a wizard in a wheelchair in
Oh, oh,
D&D?
it's there now. It's there.
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah, really.
I did not know that.
Okay,
This
if you're a queer person and you want a queer character, great, right? But when you're sticking it on the cover, it's gonna turn straight people away.
well,
And I mean, however you can, pick that apart. That's the fact of the matter. They're gonna see that and be like, "Nope, that's not for me."
the thing is that should be a personal thing. You don't plaster it everywhere.
Well, you're like, "Hey, I'm excited to play this game. I've never played it before." They say use your imagination, and then it's like, "Okay, here's your book," and they look at it and like, "What is this on the cover?" There's some girl crying. There's an angry black girl, and there's a very queer elf, and somebody's holding a red hand behind them, and then there's like a granny.
I don't know. I wasn't
Yeah,
even
I mean,
paying
okay, well,
attention.
whereas in the past, you'd have some muscular dude with a big ass sword and he's swinging it at a dragon, and there might be spells going off in the background, and you're like, fuck yeah, you know?
Yeah, that would be me in the background firing off the spells right by people's heads, going, "Oh shit, I'm sorry."
And you're like, this picture got me amped up. I can't wait to get
Yeah.
into this. Not like my character is non binary, gender fluid, and autistic, and is like, get out. Just get out.
Well,
Like
the
this is supposed to be fun.
the original the D&D game that we're used to playing would have been is a wonderful tool for kids with autism,
Well,
you know?
I find I'd found I had started playing back in the 80s, and I met groups of people with way above average intellect because they like to analyze, they like to nail down details, they like to get everything so perfect, and they like to know everything. They were know-it-alls for sure. You know that about D&D players, know-it-alls.
Yeah, a lot of them are,
But they
yeah.
they they were knowledgeable, and as a young person getting into that, you get immersed in a culture of very intelligent people, or at least it was that way back then.
Yeah. Well, I
I mean, I
mean,
didn't play it consistently through the years, but I played it for the most part late 80s, early 90s.
well, the game itself, it it helps kids exercise their mind. It's not just a video game or whatever. The video
Well,
games back then was a lot
as I
different.
understand it, some versions of the game went on to become no more than a Magic the Gathering, like my card beats your card for this reason and that reason, and let me move my little statuette a space. We didn't play
Oh,
it like that.
oh, that's no more than Pokemon.
We didn't play it like that. I mean, the people I played with, uh, the group had a lot of artists in it, and they would draw their own characters. They would often draw the enemies and the scenery. And some of them like to get into it and play the part out, and they didn't do it like a lot of these videos you watch now. Like, watch us play D&D, and they would like sarcastically mimic something they weren't. They're not into it. They're not enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, yeah,
And there were at times our games would go on all day and all night because, well, the time I'm thinking of specifically, these 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 people were kind of survivalists, and we lived without power or water. We'd go a few miles down the road and carry the water back, chop the firewood. We'd practice our martial arts, and then we'd start a long, long game of D&D.
yeah,
Now, I have no doubt that's not other people's experiences. I grew up very oddly. I
yeah.
My story is a weird one that I'm not even gonna get into.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons helps kids develop their math skills, their uh,
Social.
social skills, their critical thinking skills. It's not a game. It's not just a average game. It helped a
Yeah,
lot of
we
kids.
had actually met some people who got into D&D because of WoW, and they thought you had to play the Holy Trinity. Like, I've got a tank while you DPS and you heal, and I'm like, I could not hammer it into their heads that it was not meant to be that way.
No, it wasn't. It's not. You don't. You
So maybe for today's generation, they're like, AI art, yay!
Well, to me, when I look at this picture here, it's
Yeah,
too blended.
what's that fish eel thing doing, shooting lightning at her?
I don't know. I think it's some kind of slug or
And why is she
something.
making such an odd face about it?
She looks happy.
Yeah, and it's like, the girl in the background you can hardly notice is the
Yeah,
whoa, her skirt's being blown away. I don't know
I
what's going
don't
on. This
even
other girl's
know.
like dodged it barely. It's like dodged it. Okay, AI is retarded.
Yeah,
We should not have AI doing our art, especially not our fantasy art. AI is kind of the equivalent of a retarded child who can draw well.
they're gonna put me out of a job, people. They're gonna put me out of a job. AI is gonna put me out of work.
If it continues to improve, it'll put all the artists out of work, and that's a damn shame.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'll make art just for the sake of it because I like doing it for myself.
Okay, but that's our word on this. Hopefully you found it entertaining. Hopefully you found it entertaining enough to like it and subscribe to this.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
And we're out.